I was more curious about what's going to happen than I was afraid. Of course, I had this anxiety because I started sharing my booklets for free. So I made a mistake and printed 3,000 copies instead of 500. And then I got flooded with so many boxes of booklets. And then I had to get rid of my booklets. So I called my friends. Can you take 100? Can you take 30? Can you take 10 booklets out of my house? And which I did, and I got rid of all the boxes, and then I got this stack of fax papers every morning, asking for requests for more booklets. And then I gave away the booklets. So by the time it reached 100,000 copies, the publisher called me. But in the process, I kept on giving away too. And during that time, I got so scared because the bill was getting more and more. So one time, the cost of printing and sending is about $85,000
Wow,
US.
that's a
And
lot.
then, I cannot keep doing this, for the rest of my life, maybe a few months or a year. So I wanted to practice because we often hear what you give is what you receive. Is that really true? So I just started giving away booklets. So I ended up giving away booklets, physical copies, for 2.5 million copies, which cost me about $2.5 to $3 million US dollars.
Wow.
But, my book sales is almost reaching to 9 million copies, which brought me probably like 12 million US dollars for just only for book royalties. And all the other things I've done, I got much more than that. So what I gave for the past 20 years got back in incredible numbers.
Hey, this is your host Meenakshi Srivastava, also known as MyBohoVoyage, and I welcome you to another amazing episode of Inspiring Explorers. And as the name suggests, Inspiring Explorers is all about inspiring you with the inspiring life journeys of some of the most successful personalities from around the world, and they also share with us some interesting travel experiences that are not limited to sightseeing. For this episode of Inspiring Explorers, we have an inspiring explorer who retired at the age of just 29 and wrote more than 120 books on the topics of personal finance, happiness, and self-help. Ken Honda. Ken Honda, often famous as Money Guru, Money Healer, and the Zen Billionaire, is Japan's best-selling self-development author with book sales surpassing almost 9 million plus copies worldwide, and also teaches about money in Mindvalley. Some of his most popular titles include Happy Money, the Japanese art of making peace with your money. As a young boy, Ken discovered the hard way just how much of an impact money can have on our lives. Even as a child, Ken was noticing the difference between happy money and unhappy money, and hence Ken became determined to understand why something as ubiquitous as money could deeply influence our behavior. Ken would go on to build multiple successful businesses and achieve ultimate financial freedom at just 29. But his fascination with our relationship with money persisted. After surveying over 12,000 plus self-made millionaires in Japan, while being mentored by the late Wahi Takeda, famous as the Warren Buffett of Japan, he began noticing a common pattern among the richest, happiest, and the most fulfilled people. And one fine day, after a small incident in a park, Ken decided to impact millions by helping them heal their relationship with money. His writings bridged the topics of finance and self-help, focusing on creating and generating personal wealth and happiness through deeper self-honesty. Ken provides ongoing support through mentoring programs, business seminars, therapeutic workshops, and correspondence courses. So tune in to this epic self-help episode of Inspiring Explorers, where we'll decode more of Ken's journey, as well as let's learn something new about money. And before we start this episode, let me tell you that you can watch all my Inspiring Explorer episodes on my YouTube channel, MyBohoVoyage. You can also listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just search for Inspiring Explorers on the apps and you'll find the show. All the links are mentioned in the description box below. So do go check them out, and also come connect with me on Instagram at @MyBohoVoyage. So without any further delay, let me welcome our amazing guest for today, Ken Honda.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm so happy.
Hajimemashite.
Hajimemashite. Do you speak Japanese?
Little bit.
Oh, okay. Sounded like a native speaker.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Oh, great.
All right. Welcome to Inspiring Explorers, Ken. Super happy to have you in Inspiring Explorers. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Thank you so much, Minakshi.
All right. So my first question, Ken, for you is that the very interesting fact about your life is that you retired at 29. Like, we know that Japanese people work really hard. There's a culture of Japanese people working really hard. And then there's you retiring at just the age of 29. So what was the secret of retiring at 29?
Yeah, so my father taught me well when I was 6 or 7. He started teaching me early about money. So I started my business when I was 20. I never worked for anybody in my life. That means like I never worked in a corporate environment. So I was on my own since I was 20. So I started doing consulting, investing, and all the other things. So I was lucky enough to do that because I had a good financial IQ and a financial EQ. Since I had both, I can build a strong foundation on the things I did. So because of that, I was able to retire at the age 29.
That's wonderful. And I also heard a story where you used to serve tea to your customers at your father's shop. So could you share a little about that?
Yeah, I was 5 or 6 at the time, very tiny. And my father's clients, he was accountant. So those days, probably not anymore, but those days, my father's clients came visit us and to consult on weekends. So I was the one who brought Japanese tea to my father's clients, and they say, "Oh, a nice boy," and they treated me like just a boy. So I was asking them questions like, "Sir, what is your ROE? What is your return of equity?" And that kind of specific words like jargons. And then they were like, "Oh my God, this boy knows a lot about management." And I could really scare big people, adults, and I had so much fun because just to throw a few words of financial terms, and they seemed so intimidated. So I had fun learning about money since I was very, very young.
Exactly. Like 5 is a very young age to ask some of your father's clients about the return of investment. And that's like
Right.
crazy. And that's like long time ago. And even many of us today don't know so much about finance. And then there you are. Okay, makes sense retiring at 29. So what were your earliest experiences with unhappy money, as you mentioned in your book? There's a happy money and then there's unhappy money. So what's the story of unhappy money, your experiences with how did you know that the money is unhappy or happy?
Right. Happy money is money that gives you a smile when you receive it, and unhappy money gives you frustrated feelings. And so when I was small, I could really feel if our guests, my father's guests are wealthy or generous. If they're generous, they brought nice toys for us. So they're happy money for us. On the other hand, if they didn't bring anything, some guests didn't bring anything, which is kind of rude, we didn't like that. And also the shocking experience early on, it was when I came home, my father's crying in the kitchen. And then I was so surprised because I thought men are not capable of crying. And my mother took me aside and she told me my father's best client and also best friend committed suicide. And not only he committed suicide, he killed the entire family of 4, and then he killed himself. So it's called family suicide. It was common at the time to save your family from the shame of embarrassment and also shame of bankruptcy. You kill the entire family and you kill yourself. That is like so medieval age, when you hear it now. But I was so scared about the fact that if you do something wrong with money, you could get whole family wiped out. So I had the nightmares for days and months and years after that. My father got deep into depression because of that. And also my grandmother, my father's mother, passed away around the same time. So I could really see how money can make somebody smile and happy. At the same time, money can kill somebody, which is so scary. But it's so true after almost, 40, 50 years since that happened.
Yes, that is scary. And I think that's really awful that somebody has to go through that.
Right.
So how do you define, like, when people have this money, how can they utilize it to make it happy money or like
Right.
unhappy money? How can they
Right.
differentiate and work on it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we tend to be in the flow of unhappy money because we do not what we like, and then we get money. And also, when we do something, we are not really excited to do that. So that's basically unhappy money. So in order to turn your money into happy money, you have to do what you love. And then as a consequence, you receive money. If you can do that, it becomes very, very happy money. So you have to start transforming your relationship with money. So do more of what you love and then receive with more gratitude. Unfortunately, we do the opposite in everyday life. We feel so squeezed when you have to pay the bills, and we get upset when we get the money.
That's so true. And in that, you also mentioned about like when you say gratitude, I think that's very powerful in every aspect of our life. But then when we talk about money, we don't really take that gratitude with money somehow. We don't attach it. And you mentioned the concept of arigato money. So arigato is the concept of thank you in Japan. So
Right.
so how do you attach the concept of arigato with money? What is the concept of arigato money?
So my mentor Wahei Takeda shared this technique with me. I asked him, what is the secret of money? He said, arigato your money. My mentor used to be called Warren Buffett of Japan. He once was a major shareholder of more than 100 public companies in Japan, which is huge. And he said, arigato your money, which means appreciate your money coming in. And later I found out that when you think of receiving your money, that means your clients, your customers chose your store, chose you, your company, out of thousands of choices. So you can appreciate your customer or clients for trusting you to do the right job or to do the work. So you can appreciate them back by saying thank you for choosing me. Thank you for trusting me. And by doing that, you can receive money with appreciation. And when you also pay the bills, pay money at the restaurant or cashier, you can say thank you for the food. Thank you for the services. And then you feel the gratitude for them, and they can feel the happy gratitude from us, and they'll probably become happier. So by just receiving money with gratitude, paying money with gratitude, we can start the creation cycle of happy money.
That's so beautiful that you shared, Ken. And I think when
Thank
you talk about this arigato concept, I think it's a major part of the Japanese culture as well. When when we eat food, we say itadakimasu, and then when you're leaving, we are like gochiso sama deshita, as in for thank you for the food. So I think that's a major part of Japanese culture, to thank and be grateful for a lot of things in life. And I think that can also be applied to money, and that's beautifully shared in your book. And I think everybody should read Happy Money. It's a must-read book.
Thank you.
Definitely. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. So you're also famous as the money guru or the
Right.
Zen Millionaire in Japan. And you have written more than 120 plus books, and with more than 8 million plus copies sold worldwide in more than 15 plus languages. And you have been really famous with that. So how did this shift from being an accountant to becoming a writer happen? Like suddenly you are, and then you're writing many, many, many books, and they're just so amazing that people are loving it.
Right. So I had this inspiration in the park. I saw this mother and daughter they just came into the park, and we were just my daughter and I had a little snack and just kind of have a little rest. And her daughter just started playing swing like 3 or 4 times. And then her mother said, okay, we gotta go. And the daughter said, Mom, we just got here. And she was so right, because they were there for 2 minutes. And but she was looking at her watch and says, no, you gotta go because mommy's got to work. And then I felt so depressed and sad. She has to go to work. So, her daughter cannot enjoy the swing. It was such a beautiful afternoon. Birds are singing, and the temperature was just right, and the beautiful sun. But she had to work. And then it really hit me. It's because she didn't learn about money. She learned about happiness and money. That's why she had to work extra hours. If she knew more about money, she didn't have to work so many hours. She could probably enjoy her time with her daughter. She was like 3 or 4, very precious. So I got this inspiration. I wanted to share what I knew about money, which put me into a sharing mode. So I started writing a few pages. Few pages became 20 pages, and it became a booklet, and eventually it became a book.
But how did your journey start with that? Like, you wrote those books and they were loved by millions. How did that happen? Because a lot of people start up with things, it happens that they start with something and then their fear stops them. And their mindset is like, let's say if this did not work out, what would you have done? Because people get disappointed with just 1 or 2 failures. So how do you solve that problem? Because sometimes we start things and that does not work out. And that one failure stops us from doing the rest of the other things. So how to deal with fear of failure?
So I was more curious about what's going to happen than I was afraid. Of course, I had this anxiety because I started sharing my booklets for free. So I made a mistake and printed 3,000 copies instead of 500. And then I got flooded with so many boxes of booklets. And then I had to get rid of my booklets. So I called my friends. Can you take 100? Can you take 30? Can you take 10 booklets out of my house? And which I did. And I got rid of all the boxes. And then I got so many faxes. At the time, I don't know if you've ever seen a machine called fax, you just send it and then you receive, and then I got this stack of fax papers every morning asking for requests for more booklets. And then I gave away the booklets. So by the time it reached 100,000 copies, the publisher called me. But in the process, I kept on giving away 2. And during that time, I got so scared because the bill was getting more and more. So one time, the cost of printing and sending is about $85,000 US.
That's a lot.
And then, I cannot keep doing this, for the rest of my life, maybe a few months or a year. And then I had a funny dream. And then in that dream, there's this tabloid magazine and says, the guy who believed in giving went bankrupt, and then there's an article about me and this crazy guy who retired at age 29. Something got into his head. He printed his free booklets and gave away, say 300,000 copies. And then he lost all the money and went bankrupt. But the irony is he wrote on happiness and money. How cool is that? Is like what it's written, right? So probably if you're in the right mind, you feel probably so scared and wake up. But when I woke up, I started laughing like, that's funny, and then I just really made up my mind. I just keep giving away, I just keep going and see what happens.
Yeah.
And if I lose all the money, I'm going to stop. But the funny thing just kept happening. People said, can you take my $10 or, $20? They started donating money for me. And also one of the companies that I invested went public. So that kind of thing really came back. So it financed me to just keep going. So I wanted to practice because we often hear what you give is what you receive. is that really true? So I just started giving away booklets. So I ended up giving away booklets, physical copies, for 2.5 million copies, which cost me about 2.5 to $3 million US dollars.
Wow.
But, my book sales is almost reaching to 9 million copies, which brought me probably like 12 million US dollars for just only for book royalties. And all the other things I've done, I got a much more than that. So what I gave for the past 20 years got back in incredible numbers. That's why I am in this beautiful retreat center. We just finished 70 people seminar here on spiritual money.
Wow.
And people came all over, and they stayed in here. It's like a hotel, and we did 5-day seminars, and it was a lot of fun. I could buy the center in cash because what I gave came back so many times.
Wow, that is so, like, it's just so peaceful and awesome to just listen to this. And I think when you
Right.
talk
And
about
fun too, right?
very fun, and when you talk about happy money, just talking about it with you, I am having that happiness in me. So the retreat that you talked about, could you share us a little bit more about it so that other people who are listening to this can join it? Maybe next time.
Yes, it's only for Japanese now, but I'm going to do, I think it's a party in July. So we are inviting international guests from all over the world. It's going to happen on July 9th in Tokyo. And I may have an optional tour for international guests in Kyoto for a few days. Spiritual secret trip with Ken Honda. And I'm gonna just take some of my international guests to beautiful places in Kyoto for a few days. So I really enjoy traveling. So I'm going to go around the world probably 3 times this year. Starting from Europe, US, and South America, Australia, and back. I'm going to do that somehow 3 times because of the bookings of my speaking, But I love welcoming international guests to my center, to Kyoto, and all the other places, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That is awesome. And I think you can check Ken Honda's website address, and that will be in the description box below. So if you want to join the retreat to Kyoto, which is going to be fun, because Kyoto, I think, is still the cultural capital of Japan. It is beautiful.
Right.
I drew this,
Yes.
Kyoto.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's there's a nice restaurant, one of my favorite, right on the beneath, just on the
That's
bottom
right.
of that. Yeah,
It's wonderful.
I really enjoy learning new languages and meet new people.
I love that too. Watashi mo. I love
Watashi
you.
mo.
Yeah,
Right.
I love to learn more cultures and languages. Do you
Yeah.
also speak more languages then?
Ya puedo hablar español muy poquito.
Oh, awesome. That is awesome.
我会说中文。这是什么 is in Chinese, so and I speak Chinese too.
Yes, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned about spirituality, so is spirituality factor attached to money as well?
Yes. I think a lot of Indian viewers would understand, because India is such a spiritual culture. And I think Japanese has a different kind of spirituality, but a lot of us, all over the world, we attach something spiritual. So people, without thinking, we just judge money. If this money is spiritual money, if it's donated out of love, appreciation, we feel this money is spiritual. But if it's given out of greed, like some strings attached to money, we feel something about it, something sketchy about it. So I think spiritual, actually that's what I taught for the last 5 days, is like spiritual money is the energy. So if you're more aware of what's going on in your life spiritually, you'll be able to receive more money, happy money in your life.
And could you give us a little more description about how to tap into that spirituality? Because sometimes people are very confused with that. So how would that be attached to the money as well?
Yeah. So just start looking at looking at everything as energy. When you wake up in the morning, are you in a happy mode or frustrated mode or no feeling mode? And then when you go to work, is that like excitement, joyous mode? And when you meet your boyfriend or girlfriend or your husband and wife, are you in such a bliss mode? Oh God, thank you for sending him. Thank you for sending me this beautiful wife. If you are in this beautiful appreciation mode, love mode, your life is full of happy energy around you. So this happy energy will bring in a happy spiritual energy as form of love and money. But if you are frustrated with your life, and if you always fight with your partner, and then customers complain to you, and you get frustrated with your boss, colleagues, and the system, and then the traffic, and then your energy is the one that of frustration all the time. So when you come home, you bring back this frustration, anger, energy to home. That's why you get upset with your kids. You just want to punch your husband or whatever that is, because you're so frustrated.
Yeah.
So watch out what kind of energy you are living with. So if you can make it the way you want, you will find it easier to live. And then surround yourself with great people, generous people, and happy people. If you're surrounded by generous, loving people, family, friends, and also customers and clients, you're in heaven.
That is so true. That is so true. And being mindful of the energy actually does help a lot to understand how we are shaping our lives for the future. I think a very good example is you, when as a child you had a lot of finance energy around you. So you became the guru of finance and the Zen Millionaire of Japan. Could you also explain a little bit about, like, Zen is a very, very beautiful concept of Japan, and in your terms, what is Zen, and then becoming a Zen millionaire, tips and secrets on becoming a Zen millionaire?
Mm-hmm. So the fact that the essence of Zen is neutrality. We often think that more is better, and also we want all the positive things to happen in our life. But life is, all that happens in life is neutral. We give it a meaning. So we want to make it like good things happen to you. But whatever happens to you just falls in between positive and negative. You can take it in so many different ways. And in the West, I'm often asked this question, Ken, how can I make more money? How can I invite more happiness into your life? But in the East, I'm often asked this question, Ken, how can I satisfy myself with the money I have? So it's the approach is totally different. So Zen approach is find peace in everyday life. So that's when Zen comes in. So having a peaceful relationship with money is the essence of Zen. So if you have a neutral spiritual relationship with money, money can help you. But if you're struggling, if you're just competing, if you hate money, money will hate you back. So it's a law of mirror. So whatever you see, you want to see, you see it.
That's absolutely amazing thing, attaching Zen and having that balance and peace with money. I think that's beautiful again. And I would like you to share a little bit about that scarcity versus abundance mindset, and how can we have that abundance mindset in our lives?
Right. So scarcity mindset is that we always feel like we don't have enough. If somebody wins, I'm losing. So if somebody is happy, I'm not happy. That makes me miserable. Like watching the Facebook feed, people just enjoying the expensive wines, enjoy gorgeous trips, and then you get depressed. So if you want to be happy, don't look at the Facebook, I think that's one way of doing it. So we are contained in this small world that we have little resources, we have little time, little money. So unless we are super billionaire, if we spend money, we'll have less money. So we should not spend any money, right? So you become stingy, you don't want to share. So you become a very cold and miserable person. Whereas abundant mentality teaches you that there's more opportunities, a lot of things in your life. So you don't have to worry about life, and you don't have to worry about your future, because it'll take care of itself. So once you're in this mode, you can enjoy every second of your life on this planet. But unfortunately, we're made that way because we are made of worries and fears. So unless you learn how to let go of worries, you cannot enjoy total peace.
That's actually very true. All right. So, coming to the travel experiences part, you have traveled the world, like you say. You're very interested in the cultures and you have so many language experiences as well. So, could you share one or two experiences, anything funny, bizarre, or anything that excited you or was very good or not so good? Something funny?
Like I led a group of Japanese people to China, where in China you are treating people with so much food. So there's this difference that I didn't know. In Japan, the polite way, the good manner is eat everything it's offered, to clean the dishes. So that shows like everything was so beautiful. So that's why I finished all the things. But in China, the courtesy is different. If your guests are cleaning up the dishes, you have to order one more plate to show that the host offers so much food.
Oh.
So we didn't have the translator who understands about both cultures. So we had like 10 people. There were like some of the college kids, and we're offered so much food, and we're just about to clean the dish. Oh my God, we just, to be polite, we just cleaned up everything on the plate. And then our Chinese host is also scared because he is not supposed to have all the plates clean. So he orders 2 or 3 more plates, and then we finish everything. And then he ordered another 3 plates. So there's this war going on. And then the interpreter person came back and then she found out what's going on. And then we all laughed because we didn't know. So like that kind of cultural difference is so fascinating.
That's true. And we don't know about it most of the times. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
happens with us a lot of
Yeah.
times. You also came to Rishikesh for the yoga festival. The government invited you. How was
Yes.
that experience?
Oh, I always wanted to come to India, since I was 7 or 8. I'm from Kobe, so I was born and brought up in a city where we have the most Indians in Tokyo. So we have this little Indian place, and my father used to take me to a curry place once or twice a month. So, which is such an expensive place at the time. So I remember I just talking to my friends, have you ever had Indian curry? And all my friends said, no, it tastes like you're in heaven. And then I was so, just bragging about my experiences in India, and there's this something called naan, which is like a big bread, and then it's bigger than your face. And then it melts in your mouth. And then I always share something like that. And mango lassi and all that, so I still enjoy Indian food a few times a week in Tokyo. So going to India, going to Rishikesh, it's like Muslims going to Mecca, right? So like, oh my God, I can't wait to do that. So I couldn't sleep in the plane because I was too excited. So the first time I landed in Delhi, like, oh my God, I'm in India. So I enjoyed every second of my time in India.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you got to enjoy that. And I saw your live on Instagram when you were in
Yes.
Rishikesh, and that felt amazing as well.
Yeah, and all the Indian people are very nice and generous. So I had the best experience ever in India. And the only complaints I have is sometimes the curry is too spicy. I mean, that's about it. That's something I have to get used to it, but
Yeah, that's true. Indian curries are very spicy because
right.
I think when they sell and export the masalas outside, the spices, they get dimmer and lighter for the foreign taste. But when you are actually in India and Wait till you go to South. That's even hotter.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna give it a try next time.
Definitely. All right.
One thing I'm noticing in India is like people use, honk their car so many times. It's almost like hi, That was fun.
India is very loud. I think you would have noticed that. It's very loud.
Yes, but it was a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
In Tokyo, not many people use that.
Around the world also not many people use that, but then I think it's a very South Asian culture kind of thing.
I think it's a way of saying hello to each other.
It's not that, but it's okay. That you interpreted that as well. It's cool. Did you find cows in the roads? I love asking that to everybody.
Oh yeah, and that was the first time I could ever use the word right in the context. I said, "Holy cow," because it's really the holy cow walking on the street. So like this is where it comes from, I guess.
Awesome. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So we are coming towards the end of the interview. Any last message that you would like to give to our listeners and viewers?
Thank you so much, Meenakshi, for sharing this beautiful time with me. I hope that all the viewers will enjoy money more. You don't have to be a millionaire or billionaire to enjoy money. So next time when you receive money, just say thank you. Arigatou or namaste. Just say hello to money. And then when you spend it, you also say thank you for being with me. And then go bless the world so you can enjoy money no matter what. So by having a better relationship with money, you have a better life. So enjoy life.
Yes, and thank you so much for being with us and spending your time with us as well. Thank you so much for being on Inspiring Explorers and sharing all these amazing insights with us, Ken-san.
All right. Thank you so much.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Bye-bye. Arigatou gozaimasu. Namaste.
Namaste.
So this was Ken Honda's inspiring life journey so far and some interesting travel experiences. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to this podcast. If this episode was inspiring and insightful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or come connect with me on my Instagram at @MyBohoVoyage. All links to reach out to me and my guests are mentioned in the description box below, so do check. Also, the video version of the episodes are on my YouTube channel. Links in the description. Also, please don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and YouTube. Send me a hi or drop a comment so that I know we are in this journey together. This is Meenakshi, your host for Inspiring Explorers, saying goodbye. See you next time with another amazing inspiring interview. Till then, take care.